I'm Chris Fote, and welcome to Lakeside News Weekly, your guide to news and events going on in the Lake Minnetonka area. On today's show, we'll take a look back at some of our favorite stories from 2016. Up first, we'll introduce you to a mayor who has dedicated his life to public service in the City of Independence.
Our farm goes all the way over to where those houses are. It's a half a mile wide, and then it's about 1.5 miles long.
In '76, I got a call one morning when I was milking cows, and it was from Earl Taylor, who is still living, and he's at Minnetonka Shores, was the clerk treasurer, and he said, "Marvin, you were appointed to the council last night." And I said, "What?" I hadn't gone to council meetings, and I said, "Well, what happened?" And he told me one had resigned, and the 3 of the council members voted me to fill the vacancy. I said, "I got to think about this." And he says, "Well, I want to swear you in before 8 o'clock this morning." And finally I said, "Okay." And that was the beginning. If things would have remained the same as they were without the next election, the mayor being changed, I don't think I would have ever run again, because it was very divisive. And I don't like fights. So everybody asked if I would throw my hat in the ring, and I did. And here I am, 40 years later almost. People have been kind, and they say you can't quit, you know, and I've listened to them. After I was elected mayor, things were working very well.
Going to call the Independence City Council meeting to order.
But then some of the challenges a little bit later on is a couple of times after elections, you ended up with new council members that had a completely different agenda, and just had to work with them. And I'm not one that's got to get the last word in and you know, jab people or anything. I try to get wherever I can get harmony. I try to do that first, and but it's hard. My stomach was in knots more than once after a council meeting.
These cattle can do a lot of pasturing in lowland that we couldn't put corn or soybeans or alfalfa in. So that's the nice part of having the beef cattle. You don't have to be there all the time.
We were about 1,800 people then, and a good share of the community were people who lived on the farms, were milking cows, bigger families and so forth, and that's changed drastically.
When my dad was in high school, he was a teenager going to high school at Mound, and a great uncle built the barn. So that barn was built in the 20s.
I was the oldest in the family, and that probably makes it a little different. I enjoyed farming, and we milked a lot of cows, and I was actually kind of the main person for milking cows. I just kind of stuck with it. My great-grandfather, who originally came from Sweden, traded a house and lot in Rockford, Illinois for our farm of 160 acres, sight unseen. 1867-68, he built the house that we're living in. So the family has been here for that. We got the sesquicentennial, which was a real honor for being here this long.
And we have a couple of people who make maple syrup now every spring, and it's quite an operation. My grandfather used to make maple syrup there, and he'd carry it back to the farm. So it's completely different than what it used to be.
Well, there's always change, and change always affects everybody. I mean, me as well as everybody else. I just take it as it goes, and if something doesn't pass or something isn't the way you want it, there's probably another opportunity, or it was for the better that it turned out the way it was. But of course, one of the greatest accomplishments was just kind of the ability to get a new city hall. When we did get our own police department, that was a major upgrade too for the city, and it worked well, and even though it cost a lot of money, it certainly was needed in the community, and we're proud of that. It was a real honor to be recognized by your fellow council members and so forth. It made me feel older. I thought, oh, well, I've been around for a while, now I'm getting kind of recognitions for so forth.
And the dinner bell was used all the time when I was a kid. And us kids would love to ring that bell. So to get my grandpa in or my dad in for the meal.
I just like to work with people and make sure things are getting done for the benefit of the community and organization or wherever it is.
I sleep in the front, and I just have all my clothes right here, and then like all my stuff for school right here, and then I would sleep like this.
I thought it was an awesome idea. I'm hoping that by the end of the week they still think it is too. Kids would be interested in it, there'd be a lot of talking about it, which would help to raise the awareness, which is kind of what we're hoping for in the first place.
I got my pillow, my blanket, my utilities like soap, toothbrush, toothpaste. I got my sleeping bag, my change of clothes in here. For about the first hour, I was tossing and turning, and then every once in a while I'd look at my phone for emergencies and documenting only. I'll look at my phone, it's 11:30, I'm like, I gotta get to sleep.
It was kind of uncomfortable, and like it's not ideal for sleeping.
Future Problem Solving is a class that I actually teach in 6th grade. This particular project is done on the community problem solving component, which is the first time I've ever coached this. We've never done one of these before at Grandview. They pretty much came up with homelessness and kind of decided to work on that on their own, so we just chose to go with that topic. Then we tried to figure out some solutions, brainstorm some what are we going to do with this topic.
Throughout trying to find solutions to it, I thought, you really can't solve it, but what we can do is we can reduce it. And then we can't reduce it without knowing what they're experiencing, so then I thought, we should experience it.
There's collaboration, there's problem solving, there's teamwork, there's research, there's just a lot of what I would call 21st century skills that they're going to take with them for a long time.
The U of M conducted a study in 2013 saying that there are 4,000 homeless youth in Minnesota. That was in 2013. The 2013 stat to 2016 has raised about 6%, which is incredibly huge for 4,000.
We're also hoping to raise some money, actually, for a teen shelter in Chanhassen that just newly opened up this fall. So we want to do some outreach as well as some education.
Open Hands Foundation is really one of the only homeless shelters that accepts teens. They provide counseling, they provide food, shelter. Really, you have no way of finding out how many homeless youth there are. There's no way of solving it. But what we do know is that every community has homeless teens, and that we can reduce it.
Grandview just hasn't had a project like this that has caused as much chatter, I think, overall for a while, and I think it's something that they're going to take with them and remember for a long time.
I just hope they'll learn that teen homelessness is real and it's a thing. It's in every school.
We're doing this experiment, but we have to remember that on Friday we go home and we sleep in our own bed, we go to our house. Homeless people don't go to their house. This is their everyday life, and this never ends for them.
You're watching the best of Lakeside News for 2016. Lakeside News returns in a moment.
Here's what's coming up on First Responder TV. We'll talk about how your family can survive a fire in your home by making and practicing a home fire escape plan. Reserve Sergeant Mike Chorley and the Medina Police Reserves go above and beyond to serve the community. The LMCC safety expert gives us some important tips on the dangers of distracted driving. We'll give you an update on scams that have been targeting citizens in the lake area.
First Responder TV airs daily on LMCC's Channel 12.
Happy holidays from all of us here at LMCC.
Because we're sick of looking at you.
Tired of life?
The night down.
Ice chef on a car. This is our 3rd year of doing forensics, and each year it's gotten more and more momentum, and now we're getting a product that's pretty nice. The police are proud of it. It's a great opportunity for the kids and for the police to connect. I want the students to kind of take a walk in their shoes.
Hey, gentlemen.
Yeah,
what's your problem? Hey, what? Step back. No.
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 There's like a lot of risk to being a police officer, so I think it's like important to see how just like important their job is.
They're like on your side and they're like there to help you. They're not the bad guy.
We have this amount of time to try to build a rapport and communicate to that individual and to get them compliant with us.
One station is Drug Task Force. The guys bring in and talk to the kids about a lot of drugs that are around the area.
My goal here was to not stick out. I wanted to blend in with my surroundings so that when we were out on surveillance, no one knew that I was a police officer.
Second scenario would give them a chance to look at all of the equipment and all the gear and put the gear on and talk to the officers about it.
Hello, I'm Officer Gorsuch and I'm from the Owano Police Department, and I pulled you over because you've been swerving over the white line a couple times. Have you had anything to drink tonight?
The third station would be this traffic stop, and there we've got kids having a chance to play police officer, walk up to the cars and have reserve officers or other officers in here working scenarios with the kids that they might see in a traffic stop.
Why'd you pull me over on a beautiful day like today? You're wasting my time. This is taxpayer money you're wasting. We pay your salary, you know.
I really like the traffic stop simulation. It was really cool just because we got to go through different scenarios, and I thought it was interesting to see their perspective.
Follow my finger with your eyes only, keeping your head straight, you understand?
Of course, everyone sees the traffic stops and stuff like that, but especially when we went to go talk about all the drugs busts and all that stuff that they do, I didn't know as much about that, so I thought that was interesting.
The thing is, they blended in with their surroundings. No one knew that they were marijuana grows until we arrived.
And the last is a shoot or don't shoot scenario with simulated rounds.
Hey, get your hands out of the backpack. Ordering.
I really like the situations there, and the news a lot. It's been about cops shooting unarmed civilians, and no one really knows what they're going through. And we got a really good picture of what they have to go through in those kind of situations. It just made me respect what they do a lot more.
In some cases, the policemen are doing everything right, but it sounds like they're doing things wrong. And when the kids can see these scenarios, they can understand how that could go either way.
If they grab our gun and it's out, is it okay to probably shoot him, right? Even though he's unarmed?
I was given a simulation that there was a disturbance in the community and we had to go act on it. And I guess it kind of escalated quickly. The criminal tried to grab my gun and I had to use force to get him off. It showed me how real things can get.
Typically in any scenario, I don't need both cops to talk, but one should be the talker and the other one should be the watcher.
Sir, can I see your hands?
You did fine initially. Now, the 20 feet that he made and then got fired on, that's going to be hard to justify in the reaction time.
They're here to help the community and they're not trying to do anything else. They're just here to help.
I didn't expect that each officer did as much as they did, how much of a variety of what they do. Everything is so different, you never do the same thing every day.
Feet together and face me, please.
My feet?
Yes, your feet, please.
It really gives you an understanding of the police and kind of just what they have to deal with every day, and so you can be more understanding.
We need to talk to people and tell them what we want, right? And that's what you did.
The kids all are saying this is a class to take. It's pertinent and it's a great opportunity. There's so many kids who are doing this that they're getting to look at almost all the kids in the high school. And that's something that the two chiefs that are working this from West Hennepin and Orono have embraced, and they've supported us to that effect.
I don't think people realize heroin addiction, the epidemic that it is. In Hennepin County alone, just last year, 50 people died of heroin overdose. One was my son. Did I ever, in my wildest nightmare, think that my bright 3-year-old kid that was the happiest, he was good in school and all that, did I ever think that that's my son's gonna grow up to be a heroin addict? Did he ever think that? Don't ever say it can't be my child, because it can be, and God forbid. No one wants to live that life, that gut-wrenching every day, wondering, is this gonna be the day I get the phone call or the police knock on my door? He always loved nature and outdoors. I mean, he loved camping and being outside. And he loved music, loved going to concerts and playing music and art. He was a phenomenal artist. Played baseball, hockey, soccer, football, was a Boy Scout. I mean, all those typical things. He was a typical kid from the suburbs. I mean, he was an adult at that time, and we were sitting out at the picnic table. It was in the summertime, and he was with his girlfriend, and she said, "You have to tell your mom." And he said, "Mom, I'm a heroin addict." And I dropped to my knees. I was shocked. I was shocked. And he had been using probably for a while because he obviously was reaching out for help. And so then we got him into treatment.
He got out of treatment, and it wasn't within just a couple days, I knew he was using again. At that time, I just couldn't understand. You were in treatment for a month, and you get out, and 2 days later, you're back on it. What is going on? You don't even want to quit? Or I didn't realize that this drug is so powerful, you can't quit. He had, what, 7 or 8 friends that died, and that wasn't even enough.
The consequences of your life, you lose a job or your schooling or your family dynamics, all of it. With all your life falling apart around you, it is so powerful that you cannot stop. A friend had given him an OxyContin and he liked the way it felt, and then they got really expensive and heroin was cheap. I mean, you ask every question because you want an answer. You just want, okay, this is why. He said, "Mom, I tried it, I liked it, and I have an addictive personality, and that's how it came about." That's how simple, explain it to me. But I want an answer. I want it. You know, it's not, doesn't always have to be a trauma, a tragedy, or, you know, it doesn't always have to be that.
I'd get so angry, I just thought, well, you're just enabling him. We should just cut him off. I thought maybe if he hit rock bottom, maybe then he'd wake up and smell the roses. And I'd get so darn angry, it affected our marriage, you know.
It affected our whole family. I know in my heart that if I would have just thrown him out, he would have been dead long before he did. There is no right or wrong answer. You just go by your gut, and you know, because you're, like I said, you're just as sick.
And it's sick the other way too, the way I was thinking, you know. You walk around being mad all the time, angry, you know. What the heck? You got to grow up sometime, but it just wasn't to be.
I could see that he was getting sicker and sicker and sicker. He just hated his life. He hated being an addict. He hated it. He wanted sobriety so badly. The whole time Garrett was sick, I was sick too. You know, I'm still kind of, you do things, I mean, even as a mother, all you're doing is trying to keep your child alive. That's all you're doing.
And you're just going day by day. Is he going to live another day?
That's what I kept on saying. God, let him live another day to get to treatment, to get better. When you are a mother or a parent of an addict, people have the stigma of, oh, you must have been a bad parent or whatever. People just have the stigma. They have no idea that it affects everybody. The pain and the suffering that he went through and every addict goes through is something that we will never, ever comprehend, ever. I know what I felt like as his mother. I can't imagine the physical, mental anguish. It's inconceivable to me. He saved so many people. I just got another call from somebody again the other day. I wouldn't be here if Garrett wouldn't have saved my life. He'd saved so many lives from overdoses, but he couldn't save his own. So if nothing else, maybe I can be his voice to try and continue to do what he was doing. It's the most painful thing that I've ever lived through or ever will, but I know he is at peace and he is not suffering and he's with God. So for that, I'm grateful. So if I have to be his voice, God and him will lead me where I need to go. I believe that. A lot of things have to change. It's not going to change overnight, but Gail and everybody else, changing this shame of this disease, if that changes, I believe everything else will fall into place. The more I learn about heroin addiction, the more I realize the hold it has on people. And the more time has gone by too, I understand that there's nothing I could have done to help him. I did everything in my power.
I'm learning all the time, just through Deb and her contacts, you know, hearing everybody else's story, and everybody else's story is the same story.
But you think, well, if only I would have done this differently, or if I, or wouldn't have done this. I mean, you question everything. But you come to the conclusion there was, as a parent, I did everything that I thought that I could do to try and help him.
To be perfectly honest, I still get mad sometimes watching her in her pain. I get mad at Garrett, you're causing your mom this much pain.
Supporting him and giving him as much love as I possibly could, and maybe sometimes in the wrong way. You learn that, but it wasn't my fault that he was an addict. It wasn't my fault that he chose, after he got out of treatment, to use again.
I think the same thing. Well, maybe if I would have been more supportive, maybe I could have changed the outcome. But I couldn't.
How many folks out in the audience know someone who's been impacted by addiction? Raise your hand. All right, so it looks like we've all come to the right place.
It was unbelievable. What do you mean? A heroin overdose here in St. Bonnie? I asked her, are you willing to talk about this? And let's see if we can make a change. And then we started talking about what are the goals of the forum. Number one, get information out there.
So many people's eyes were opened about what is really going on, especially in a small community like St. Bonnie, that they know it can happen to their kids. It can happen to their family. And if people don't start talking about it, nothing's going to change.
That shows real leadership of what community is all about. It's the partnership of people standing up and saying, look, we've got an issue, and it's important for the community to understand this, and they need this information. Because of the forum, there's been multiple people that have approached me for help, and then they've even told me their story of how addiction has affected their family. They thanked me for the forum. They thought it was incredible that a small town like St. Bonnie would be open to have a forum like this. They thought it was amazing strength of what both Deb and Tom showed.
The foundation we have done, we've done some community work with different organizations. There's a homeless shelter in Grand Rapids that I've been working with, and getting to know people there, and working with law enforcement and with the foundation to try and get them the Narcan, the Naloxone out there. It is an opiate reversal drug, and when people are overdosing on opiates, and it can reverse the effects, and it can save lives. It's saved hundreds and hundreds of lives.
When the kids are growing up, try to be a part of their lives, a close part of their lives. If you notice things changing in their demeanor or lifestyle, it may be time to take a little more action than what we did.
Surround yourself with people that are going to support you, and they don't necessarily have to have lived through the same thing, but I have a lot of support groups online that have lived through what I've lived through. If you're struggling, get help, and just get help. Reach out to someone. Someone will listen to you and save your life.
I hope you're dancing in the sky.
You're watching the Best of Lakeside News for 2016. Lakeside News returns in a moment.
LMCC HD is here. Here's how you can watch our Government Channel 8 in high definition. If you have a cable-ready TV, you can watch us on Mediacom Channel 8.1. And if you have a set-top box, you can watch us on Mediacom Channel 808. Your community TV, now in HD.
Here's what's coming up on First Responder TV. We'll talk about how your family can survive a fire in your home by making and practicing a home fire escape plan. Reserve Sergeant Mike Chorley and the Medina Police Reserves go above and beyond to serve the community. The LMCC safety expert gives us some important tips on the dangers of distracted driving. We'll give you an update on scams that have been targeting citizens in the lake area.
First Responder TV airs daily on LMCC's Channel 12.
LMCC is now on Facebook. Be sure to like or friend us so you can keep up with all the happenings at LMCC or to watch one of our latest videos. Well, there you have it, news and events happening around the Lake Minnetonka area. For more information about LMCC or to learn more about our programming, go to our website at www.lmcc-tv.org. We'll leave you today with some sights and sounds from Round's annual tree lighting event. Happy holidays from everyone here at LMCC.
3, 2, 1. Merry Christmas! Merry Christmas, everybody!